Dude, 100%. I literally, I met one of my good buddies, at one of the first companies I worked for when I moved to Southern California. And him and I had always stayed that close. He's probably like my closest friend here for sure. And he literally just texts me on like a Friday, like that day. And I'm just like, yo, like, we're thinking about taking like shrooms tonight. Like, he's like, my girlfriend like got like chocolate and something. Would you and Denise like want to come over? And her and I were on our way to a date.
Okay.
When he texted me this, we were going to shout out Shikdo Rock, the Korean barbecue spot in Irvine. The place is so tough, but we were on our way there, and I was like, "Fuck, dude! Like, I've always wanted to do like that. Could be fun, you know what I mean?" And like, I basically like was like, "Yo, like, would you do it with me?" And she was like, "Oh, I can't do that with you." And I was like, "Why not?" And she was just like, she was talking about like she's like, "Oh, like I'm just afraid I'd fucking like lose my fucking mind or get it." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Can you like trips it me then?" And she's like, "Oh, absolutely." And I was like, "Okay, sick." So we ate. Honestly, it was probably good that I ate a bunch of food, in my opinion. Probably that probably helped the stuff digest better in a way. Do you think? Or
no, but that's okay. It was your first, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You took a safer approach.
All right. Well, I was happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But so if I'm not mistaken, so we get over to their apartment, and it was my buddy, his girl, and then like two other guys, and then Denise and I. And so his girlfriend brings out the chocolate bar, and I'm pretty sure each square was half a gram. I think.
Okay.
It's either a gram or half a gram per square. I think it was half a gram.
Half, yeah, that makes sense.
Half a gram per square of the chocolate bar was like divided into like 8 squares.
Yeah.
So we each, other than Denise, took a square. And it was one of those things where it's like when you take an edible and it doesn't like hit you for the first 25 minutes.
Shit a little
and
bit.
You're like, the fuck was Ryan talking about?
Right.
And by the way, I
did talk to you that day before.
I don't know if I called you or if we were just texting.
I called you, actually. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
just randomly.
Yeah.
And this was like last December, right? November, maybe?
Around that, yeah.
And I did. I actually remember where I was. I was walking through like my neighborhood to a Starbucks, and I just talked. I don't know why, but I remember talking to you.
Dude, but so yes. And I basically, I was just asking you about it, and then you gave me like the advice, like, like, hey, you're not taking it, it's taking you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just like, fuck that shit.
Right.
I'm the smartest guy in the world.
Sure.
I'm fine. And so like I said, so now fast forward like half hour, we ate that square, and then me, my buddy, and his girl all look at each other, and we're like, let's take another square. So I had a full gram.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom. I sit down. I pull out my phone. And I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at right now? And because you texted me.
Okay.
You texted me, you said, hey, I just want to see how it's going, or something like that. You asked me.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of texting you. And I was like, bro, fuck this phone. I threw it against the wall.
Oh,
Not
shit.
like, I didn't like overhand, but kind of
a little toss.
I went yank.
Yeah.
And everyone heard the bang, and they're like, Casey, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, man, fuck this phone. Like, out loud, just like that. And then Denise comes over to the bathroom door, and I get out, and I'm like washing my hands, and I am geeking. I am cheesing. I'm so happy.
Okay.
Like, just unbelievably thrilled. And the entire world around me, and by the entire world, I mean this apartment, had this like purple, green haze.
Oh, purple haze, Jimi Hendrix.
Definitely, bro. Damn.
Okay.
But dude, like Denise looked like a fucking like ethereal angel walking up to me.
Nice.
And she sees me. She's like, "Hey, are you okay?" I was like, "Babe, we don't fucking need to know." And she just looked at me. And she's like, what? And I'm like, babe, you got your phone on you? She's like, yeah. I said, fuck that phone. I said, we don't need phones. And then my buddy's laughing. And I said, man, we're all right here, man.
Yeah, dude.
We don't need these fucking phones. I was like, we're right here. I said, we're talking right here. I feel myself feeling like that, like as I'm talking. Like I was like, dude. And I know this probably sounds like so like generic, but like this is genuinely like how I was talking, how I was feeling. I was like, bro, like
Slows down, dude.
I'm like everything.
In a good way.
In a good way. Everything slows down. But I was so much more in tune with like my feelings on everything.
Like present.
100% present. There's so many times in our lives where you're just kind of getting through it. Like you're not like if you're taking a walk, like you're just trying to get to your destination. You're not like, fuck, dude, it's just, you know, like there's a lot, even driving. There's a lot of times where you're just focused on getting where you are and you're not. And especially where we fucking live or where I live, and you see these beautiful mountains and palm trees and houses on hills and shit. Like you have to take a second to like be like, fuck, dude, like I really live here. This shit's cool. And I felt so in tune. And you know, Denise was taking great care of me. Like everything was good. And then my buddies were like, "Oh, we need to go out to our car to grab something." And they were all fucked up on shroom. And I was like, "Don't go outside, guys. Let's just stay right here.
Yeah.
And it's fine." And my buddy's like, "Case, I'll be right back." I was like, "You don't know." That's what I said.
I'm never gonna see you again.
So they leave, and then Denise is looking at me like, "Casey, they're okay." I'm like, "We don't know what's out there, man." That's what I said. You can. It was so funny. And they weren't. And now to me, it felt like 5 hours that they were gone.
Yeah.
Probably about 10 minutes had passed. So I was like, "I'm gonna go look for them." And Denise was like, "No, don't go outside. You just stay right here." I was like, "I'm going to find them." So I put my shoes on and I walk outside, and I immediately see this like there's like some homeless dude like walking through like this like back lot of like this like apartment. And I thought it was like a fucking like demonic entity, so I immediately went back inside. I was like, absolutely the fuck not. Nope.
Yeah,
I'm good. And then I'm talking to Denise, and I'm just explaining to her. She's like, "Well, like, tell me, like, what are you feeling right now?" And I'm like, I said this as simply as I could. I said, there is so much that we care about that does not fucking matter at all. And she's like, "What do you mean?" I point to the TV. I'm like, we don't need that.
Yeah.
Why is it on?
Yeah.
She's like, on Instagram. I'm like, "Baby, what are you doing?" I was like, that's not real. That's fake. What you're holding is not of this planet. Is kind of how what I was saying. And she's like, "Casey, like, you know, you're fine. Just relax." I was like, "No, you." I was like, not like getting mad, but I was kind of like, "No, you're not. You're not fucking hearing."
She's dismissing you as just like, this dude's tweaking right now. And you're like going through this profound like,
bro.
No, dude.
I'm like, "Dude, you're not fucking hearing me right now, man. Like, this shit doesn't matter." I'm like, "You matter.
Right. Yeah.
I matter. This matters." But like, I literally felt like when I was looking into my phone, it was like I was looking into like a portal of like fake bullshit. That's what it felt like.
Okay.
And then you know, we were still talking, but then it came time to go home. They eventually came inside. Everything was all good. And then we're on the drive home, but actually before that, we're walking through, and where my buddy's apartment is, there's a bunch of trees, bunch of fucking really nice big, not like palm trees, like real fucking like tree, like trees. You know,
trees, bro.
Trees, man. You know what I'm saying?
Branches and shit.
And they're fucking these things. They're breathing, man.
Yeah.
They're moving towards me.
Yeah.
And they're moving back.
Yeah.
I hear from the fucking trees.
Yeah.
I can't make this up. And I'm looking at everything, and the sky it went from it was like weird. It was like really late. It was like it was like 10 o'clock. The sky, I watched it ripple like it was the ocean, like the sky, and it kind of turned into like a dark purple instead of just black.
Okay.
And it was like,
that's cool.
Like it looked like the stars were moving. They weren't airplanes. It looked like there was a lot of stars out, and it looked like they were kind of moving.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining all of this, and then Denise and I get back in the car, and she's driving me home. And I was just explaining to her. She was like, "Yeah, like, Casey, how's it going?" And I was just like, "Babe, like, I was like, babe, we are really powerful people. Like, we, like, everyone, like, we all are connected. Like, we have energy that is powerful, and, like, we can do some really great things if we just focus on who matters and not what matters. Like, the people around us are the most important. And she was like, well, yeah, but, like, we need technology. I was like, babe, you're not hearing me. I was like, your family matters. My family matters. Our friends, the people we were just with, that connection, neighbors,
Yeah.
like that, like, shared experiences is what, like, drives growth and evolution. And I just felt like I was getting dismissed. She probably just thought I was just fucking babbling.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was fucking Socrates.
And like you are babbling,
In a way.
But it's like you are in like this. You can't explain.
There was no stopping it.
The neurons are firing in a different way, dude.
But so to the mirror thing. So now this is probably where I scared her the most, because I said to her, so we pulled up into my parking lot, and like, well, our parking lot, and we're parked, and she was like, okay, you ready to go? And I was like, I think I just need to sit.
Okay.
And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm okay, but I think just for a little bit I need to be alone.
Yeah.
Is what I said to her.
Okay.
And she was kind of taking it as like, maybe I wanted to harm myself, or maybe like I was upset with her, or maybe, which it was just not the case.
Right.
It was.
I'm just looking at my microphone.
Oh, okay. So maybe
You were chilling.
yeah, and no, I just said to her, I was like, baby, like, I love you so much. I want to just sit with my thoughts and just kind of see what I can come up with. And then she's like, okay, just please come up soon. I was like, all right. Clockwork. She closes the door. I watch her walk up the steps, and I look into the side mirror, and I lock. Like, my head, like, dude, so, like, I'm like, and I just am locked in, lasered in, and I start to see, like, tears form. I don't even feel myself crying, but I'm watching myself cry.
Okay.
Like, it didn't feel wet, but it's happening.
Okay.
And then the weirdest part is, so my whole life, you and I look pretty similar, and at least my whole life, I was told that I look exactly like our mom.
Yeah. You take like first grade pictures of you and put it next to mom's like first grade picture. It's the same face.
It's and that's not an exaggeration. Yeah. Like, it is the same fucking face. Like, you literally take your hands, you cut the hair, and it's Casey. But in that moment, I'm looking deep into myself, and our fucking dad is looking back at me. But it's me.
Sure.
It's my face looking at me.
Yeah.
But I see dad in my face, and that, like,
damn,
really fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I remember, you probably don't even remember this, but this is probably years ago. I would say pre-California.
Okay.
Maybe no. I'd say this is pre-California. It's probably 2021.
Okay.
No, maybe this was California. Maybe this was in our Los Gatos apartment. I'm not sure. We had some kind of argument, you and I.
Okay.
It was maybe about me not doing something, or it was about me. I think we were living together. Maybe this was California.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of tangenting, but anyway. Maybe I was being a bad roommate. Maybe I was being. I don't really know. I don't know what was happening. But you and I, we were not happy with each other.
Right.
Well, more you were not happy with me.
Fair enough.
But you said something to me, and you said something along the lines of, and it was meant to be insulting. For sure. Case, if you continue the way that you're living right now, you're going to be just like dad.
Damn.
And I heard you talk to me while I was staring in the mirror. Like looking back at myself.
Yeah.
When I saw Dad. And it scared the fuck out of me.
It's crazy.
And yeah, dude, and I was crying, which I was watching Dad cry.
Whoa.
I was watching Dad cry in the mirror while I was crying. And I was like, okay, time for me to get out of the car.
Oh, shit, man.
So, oh, do you have something to say?
No, I mean, yeah, that's wild for one, because like I was explaining earlier how like I can only speak from my experiences, and we are so similar, yet I've had nothing close to that at all. I've had no like
bonkers.
Honestly, I've never even had like a interaction where like another family member even came into play or anything like that, which is so it's like, you know, just something to note, right? Like, you know, as I'm talking about this, if anyone like listen, like I know that these stories are nuts and that my brain is insane, and I just want to emphasize with how similar we are. Like this experience you had off of like truly not even like a heavy dose at all and all chocolate was greatly different than anything that I've ever experienced.
And like I said, man, it wasn't like I blinked and like Dad was in the mirror.
Yeah.
I watched my face morph into Dad's features.
Damn.
And I heard you in my head say, if you continue down this path, you will be just like Dad. And it was meant to be insulting, which is completely fair.
Did you change anything after that? Like after that moment, not from like when we had a conversation or whatever, but like after that, was there anything like the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, what the fuck happened? And you're like thinking about it, like what was some takeaways?
100%. But let me continue through the night, and then I'll get back to that.
Okay.
So I walk up my steps, walk another set of steps. I walk to my apartment here. And of course, you know, I live with my girlfriend, and we have a dog, Chocolate Lab.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's the man. Shout out Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
I open the door. Now here's what's crazy. Typically, when Denise and I come home late night, no matter what, Arthur will bark.
Right.
Just because like he's excited or he thinks someone's trying to come in.
Sure.
For some reason, Arthur knew not to bark. I open the door. This has never happened before. Typically, when I walk in, Arthur's all excited. He brings me a toy. He tries to jump up on me. He shows me his butt so I can scratch it. Not this time.
Yeah.
I shit you not. I walk through the door. Arthur walks right up to me. Like almost human-like.
Okay.
Sits at my feet and just lays down on top of my feet.
Damn.
And I crumble to the ground.
Oh shit.
Like it was literally Arthur's way of saying, "Come here," like come down. Like he was like almost like he was like talking to me. You know, it was so he knew. I don't even know how else to describe it. Like he literally saw me, no reaction, and just came right down and laid down at my feet and looked up at me and literally said to me, "Lay down."
Did you come down at that moment?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Come down from
like
the
like
trip?
like were you like, oh, I'm back?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
He was in it just as much as I was.
Oh, okay.
And I would pet him, and it felt like his entire body was like pulsating. Like it felt like his heart was the size of his body. So like when I would pet him, it was like a boom boom, like boom boom.
Damn.
And I'm just petting him, and he's just like easing me back into reality.
Okay.
Like still, kind of like tripping a little bit, but like he's like, "Hey, you." Kind of in the similar vein that you felt like when you saw Mom.
Yeah.
When we pulled up to like take you back like to the mothership, Arthur was like bringing me back into this world that I know of like, hey, I'm your dog. It's okay. Like, chill.
Dude, and to off tangent in a great way off of that, part of all this is like, you know, we're talking about how nature's a lot more connected than we think. We are a lot more connected to nature than we think.
Yeah.
You talk about like animals, and you talk about like the whole mothership thing and things of that nature, and how like and I will bring it up in this next story, but like Mother Earth, right? Why is Earth referred to as like mother, right? That's what's interesting. And like as you left and went somewhere else for a little bit and you come back, these earthly things, Arthur, trees, like things that are natural to this world are like what bring you back to this world.
Dude.
And like,
yes,
that is what exists on this plane. And that is even more of my reasoning for thinking that when you do take these, that you are taking something from somewhere else. Bro. Because when you come back to Earth, to Mother Earth, you are connected with these natural things.
It's like, yeah, dude, it was the most surreal fucking experience. But the thing that was even funnier too, like I'm on the ground with her, with Arthur rather, and Denise walks out and she just sees me and turns on the light and just sees me laying, like Arthur laying on top of me and laying with me, and she's like, Casey, are you okay? Like, how's it going? I was like, all I said to her was like, he knows. And she was like, what? And I was like, Arthur knows.
Yeah.
And he is protecting me, is what I said basically. And she was like, protecting you from what? And I was like, I don't know. Myself, maybe, yeah. But she was like, come on, let's get you to bed. Yeah. Now, in my bedroom, we have giant, like these giant glass mirror sliding closet doors. And I lay into bed, and I'm like, basically like fucking like attached to her. I'm like, hey, I need to fucking like be right here. She's like, yeah, okay. I shit you not. So where I'm laying in bed, the way I'm facing her, so I'm facing the wall, which is facing the closet mirror, big, like this. You know what I mean? Like how I have. And out of my dresser, I see like a black shadow John figure standing up.
Oh, shit.
And I went, nope. And I buried my head into Denise's shoulder. And she was like, what? What is it? I said, I can't look up. And she was like, are you okay? I was like, I am now. Just breathe.
Okay.
Just you relax. She was like, me relax. I am relaxed. I was like, just. And then I eventually felt myself falling asleep. But I will tell you this. I don't know if you. I didn't have any dreams. Zero dreams that night.
Yeah.
I didn't have any. I guess my life was vivid enough.
Yeah.
And honestly, the next day, I was still pretty
tired.
Yeah, definitely. Like I felt like spent.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I ran a marathon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's part of it
too.
For sure. Like your brain ran a marathon.
Yes.
Like yes.
Yes.
You know, and that's why it's like I think it's kind of like a workout at the nth degree to some extent, you know. But
to say what I took away from the biggest thing, which was for sure seeing Dad, is there are certain things that I mean, hey, I'm grateful for him because without him, we don't exist.
Sure.
That's about where it starts and ends. And so with us and you specifically, and how much not only subconscious probably inspiration that I've taken from you, but how much you and I have bounced off each other and learned from each other and have grown with each other, to hear that voice in my head again while I'm looking back into the mirror, it kind of gave me a newfound like perspective on people around me depend on me.
Okay.
And need me. And I am going to do, because I didn't feel I was doing like a bad job.
Okay.
But it gave me a newfound motivation. Like, I'm going to show up better. I'm going to be more attentive. I'm going to show care even more than I already am, because the people around me deserve it. And I think coming out of that experience, that's what stuck with me the most.
Yeah, it's just love.
Yeah,
it's all love.
exactly.
Dude, it boils down to it. Like, you know, we've talked about this when it comes to decisions, right? I think no matter what you do, you can pick love or you can pick hate in every single thing you get to, no matter what it is. And it's in different ways and different forms. But, you know, hate is easy. It's the quick hit.
Yes.
It ultimately leads to destruction.
Yes.
Love is there. It might be the harder choice to love something or someone you don't want to, but it, no matter what, will result in better for you and better for everyone, which is crazy that like these experiences take you there.
It was the most ego death is probably the biggest is the best way to describe. It was the most humbling up to this moment. It was the most humbling experience of my life. 100%. Like, I've been laid off from jobs. I've been broken up with. That experience in itself was like, whoa. Let me realize that there is something much bigger than myself.
Sure.
Is probably the way I took it.
Yeah. And
I think that leads in.
Yeah, man. The last one.
Fuck you.
Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Okay,
so let's backtrack a little bit. Talk about a little bit what led you to doing it again.
Yeah, I had this cool idea to, Christmas is supposedly the birth of Jesus. Santa, mushrooms. I hadn't went on one of these trips in a while, so you know what? It's a great time. I'm off for the day. Family's not exactly close to me, so it's not like I have to go to like family dinners or anything like that. You said you were going back up to San Jose area.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm free for the day. So I'd been planning on for like a couple months. Like I'd been planning on like, all right, I know I'm going to. This will be the day that I do it. Where I wasn't really expecting. Ironically, like I know I said like environment's super important. But right before like a week or two before Christmas, I was just talking to someone. I was given the idea to basically go to Joshua Tree, and I was like, oh shit. And now I'm heading to him. I'm adding things together. I'm like, well, this is like this beautiful, famous national park for people like doing this as well. And I was already planning on doing it, so I was like, boom, match made in heaven, right?
Done.
So that was the play, and I as much as you're not in control, like I did, had a plan, food, water, the whole thing, brought my car, plenty of resources, plenty of substance to take care of myself. And so the idea was I was gonna hit a hike, take a nice little dose, walk around and see. And like, it's not like life was bad, and it's not like, I'm not trying to dig myself about anything. It's just like I said, I felt called to do this at this time.
Well, before you really get into it, let me tell you a little bit what it looked like from my perspective.
Sure.
And the lead up. So it was a couple weeks before Christmas. You had texted me, and you had asked me like, "Hey man, what are you doing for Christmas?" And I told you, "Oh, like I'm gonna go drive up to, we're gonna drive up to see Denise's family, like, spend the holidays with them." And you were like, "Oh, sick." And I was like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Joshua Tree." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool, like nice. Like, who you going with? Like are you going with Carlos and them?" And you said, No, not Carlos." And I was like, "Oh, okay, like are you taking like a girl or something? You're not trying to like tell me, or like you're trying to be all secretive?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "No, I'm going alone." And I was just like, okay. I was like, "What are you gonna do up there?" And then you said like, "Oh, I'm gonna take shrooms." And I was like, cool, all right, have fun. And then you and I did not talk. And honestly, before we get into what we're gonna get into, that was the last time I thought about it. Genuinely, I did not think anything of it after that. So continue.
Yeah. So, of course, like I had bought like the strain that was supposed to be like the most introspective, blah 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 blah. I drank water. I did eat actually a little bit because really, I also was hiking, and there's something to that too. Like I went to we were just on a trail, and the idea was it's like a 2.5-3 hour drive from where I'm at. I was like, I'm gonna drive there, have this experience, and really drive back home the same day.
Yeah, that was another thing I remember asking about. I think I asked like, oh, do you I said, oh yeah, I literally texted like, oh, do you have like an Airbnb or something? You said, no, I'm gonna come back the same day.
And realistically, it's not even weird. And like, I actually, funny enough, afterwards, I actually do it again, not with shrooms, but like, you totally can do it in a day. It can totally be a day trip. And it's like I said, it's like 2.5 to 3 hour drive. You leave early. Like I left at like 8 a.m. I got there at like a little after 10, and then by the time I get on the trail, it's like 11.
Yeah.
So I took like, again, it was like probably like solid 3, and honestly, the rest of them are out in the desert somewhere, as we'll get into. So like I had a bag, dude. I was suited up. I knew it got cold in the desert. Like you're in a national park that is a desert.
Yeah.
I was like double, triple layered as well, like shoes, gloves, the whole 9, right? I was ready to go. And so and Christmas, also national parks are kind of popping during Christmas, and there was a decent amount of people like walking on the trails and stuff. So this one is definitely the most profound, and also I'm probably good for a pretty long time actually after this, and for a couple reasons. But so this one started off as literally just like walking through the trail, like you're just like kind of like out in the middle of nowhere, right? Just like from this trail, and I'm just like looking around, shit's pretty cool. I kind of like jumped up like a couple rocks or whatever, and like the visuals are starting to settle in. Probably like a half hour into me walking. And then of course you get to a spot where Joshua Tree is beautiful, by the way. Like fucking regardless of any of this, like I'm probably gonna go back just to explore, just in general, because this shit is gorgeous. It's different. It feels, the whole place feels very ancient, like who knows how old. So I got to a point like in this, like at the path where like literally you're crossing like a river of bedrocks. Okay. And there's no water in this. This is desert, but you could tell this was a river at some point. Who knows how long ago? Kind of like in the way that the Grand Canyon is like carved out.
Yes.
Like you can just tell that this was like water
and dried up.
And so this is like a decently long mile trail, or whatever. And I was probably like 1.5 miles, 2 miles in, and so I get to this spot where I'm like, well, I keep going this trail where I can go fucking right, because obviously there's this, why not? Mm-hmm. So I start just like wandering down this like I said, it was like river rocks. Imagine like rocks you like skip down water. It was like like this whole long thing of rocks like that. And I just start walking, just wandering around. I know at one point I like climbed up like a mini like little hill of things, and I was like watching these 2 birds fly around, and I was like, this is fucking dope. Like they were just like circling. And then I got to like, took some cool photos, got this like part of this like cool little landmark. And then like one of the things that was the craziest about this is, like, don't try this at home, kids. Or maybe do try it at home and not in Joshua Tree. But either way,
please don't do this.
This is the controversial parts of this. So
controversial is one word to use to describe this.
Fair. So I mean, so be it. So when you go through these, like at one point, like it does visual a little bit, but then like at one point I was like, oh, I really need to sit down. And actually, kind of like I really want to sit here, and I was like, I need to just sit and like chill. And so I'm like sitting down, and then like kind of exploring. I'm in the desert. It's kind of cold, actually, ironically, during this time, like winter desert, and so just looking around, just like fucking chilling, just staring at mountains, whatever. And then like something happened, and this is where the timeline's kind of spacey, yeah, exactly, blotchy, whatever.
Would you say that you
spotty
at any point in time, like, would you feel like you kind of blacked out?
Nah, not blacked out. Like I know exactly what happened. I just don't know the timeline. Is basically the same. And I did learn that I walked way further than I thought I did.
All right.
So,
well, try your best.
Boom. So chilling, I'm sitting down, and like this is where this is a different kind of realization for me. So this was, like I said, the last one was like, hey, stop smoking weed, right? And that was kind of thinking like, well, this is love. And this one, like the self work ones, is I was looking at my hands a lot, and I was looking at my hands. There's a lot of crying during this one, and I'm looking at my hands, and I'm like, why am I white? So, and you have no idea what I'm about to tell you right now. You actually have not heard this offline or anything. And I think what that is like, a lot of self-guilt for just existence. You know, I think, and why that is probably because of, you know, what I look like. And this is not some sap story about being white or anything like that, but it really is just that is what happened. And I was looking, I was like, you know, like why me? Like, why was I chosen? Like, there's some times, you know, in this world and in what's happening in life, you know, like talk about COVID and those things, like, you know, I was like fuck, like I need to do something. And like, why was I the one that I am what I look like, right? Yeah. So, and there's a lot of that, and like, you know, take that for what you want, but like that's the truth. And so I was walking around, and that was like part of like, you know, that's the beginning. And then I was walking, and then it was fun. Then it was fun for a really long time. So I'm off trail super much, and you know, I kind of felt like I was walking around Mars. Like I was like, and there's nothing out here, by the way. There's cool rocks, cool flowers, and cool plants and stuff like that. There's no animals, dude. Like they have like signs that say like you'll see like a like the mountain goat. And I was like looking for one of those. Nothing, dude. No, like I think I heard a couple birds chirp. Like no bugs or even anything anywhere.
Damn.
So I started just jumping around, wandering around, like looking and shit. And then, you know, talk about like I've said like, hey, like someone's like something is talking to you. And this was like the whole like I was jumping around as if someone's like, yo, this is cool as shit, man. Like, oh, dude, you get to live here all the time. Like, whatever was with me was like experiencing Earth, and was like, oh, you get to do this shit all the time. Like, this is fucking cool, man. Like, and we got you. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you know, don't worry about anything, man. Like, we got you. Like, it's all good. And I'm like, all right, bro, just cool wandering around. Like, it's fucking dope, man. You get a little pep in your step. I start jumping and shit. And you know, something that is common, but just like to like way different extremes is like you mentioned, like, hey, like, you're like, man, fuck this phone, right? Well, throughout this thing, like, although I've had experience, and you can expect what's gonna happen. So at one point I was like, man, I'm looking at my shit, and I was like, bro, like, fuck this phone, dude. Like, I don't need this shit, right? So, and as it's all so perfect, I had a blue iPhone 12 that is looking at me dead in the eye right now. And my last memory of this phone is putting it down. No case, by the way. I took the case and broke it in half, and putting it down face down in the desert to where like I saw the apple in the back of the blue looking at me, which is looking at me right now.
Jesus Christ.
And so I'm sitting down for a while. I put that shit down. I took my watch off, my Apple Watch, and I threw that shit. Sick. And I put my whole bag down. And at this point, like, I remember I was like, yeah, I don't need this shit anymore, bro. Like, I don't need this shit. And so I start just like running through the fucking, just running, dude. Like literally just exploring and running without any of my shit. Some of the like really cool, profound stuff of like the trip itself is like, again, like I said, like I felt like I need to sit down. Like at one point I was seated, like laying down. And I feel like with these super intense ones that like all five senses become one. And there's no other way to explain that besides the fact that like the best way to explain it is I'm switching from vision to sound to feel to like all at the same time. And it's like in a constant thing. So, dude, for a while, this is going to be the fun biblical stuff that happens. So I'm seated down, and I'm going through like this super intense thing. I start staring into the sun. Staring into the sun did not hurt. Couldn't feel a thing. Like all was great. I'm staring into the sun. And like the longer and longer I was staring into it, was more of like a blue cross started to form. Like legitimate, very intense blue cross started to form while I'm staring at the sun. And you start to fight it a little bit with the super intense ones, and it kind of happened to me in the one in San Diego. You start to fight it, but you learn that like the only way through is to not fight it. Like you
fight in the sense of like, oh, I want to be sober now.
Not sober, but you're just trying to resist what's happening, and you literally need to let it ride. Like you need to let the wave,
let it run its course,
let it go, because the more you fight it, the more it's gonna knock you the fuck out, right? And so there was some part of that. It's like a give and take, and I'm laying down just like letting it go, and then like I remember like digging my hands into the sand for a second. I remember staring into the sun. I remember at one point too, this is like the big thing too with like, you know, you talk about like, we were actually talking about like a cocoon and things of that nature. Like, dude, there is this death and rebirth sense to where I'm laying down, and there was eyes closed, and this figure started to appear. A lot of like fractals and things, these colorful fractals started to appear in my brain. But what started to really come out of it was like again, best way to explain it was like it looked like I was looking at a praying mantis a little bit, but very womanly. Like a woman, there was an extreme extreme sense of womanly presence. Feminine presence, which is actually kind of why we started this podcast. But feminine presence. And when I'm there, like, you know, the best way to explain it too, it was like in this like saying that I have to fight. So I'm laying down. It's like, yo, you need to like, let me put on a show for you, right? Like it's like fucking. However you want to take that from like a woman saying that to me of like this is what's in my head, like, yo, just let me take over and let me do my thing, you just hang out and watch, is kind of what was being told to me.
Okay.
So I'm laying down and like I'm watching like this like basically like a colorful like light dance show, best way to explain it, like is happening.
Eyes open or closed?
Closed. Colorful like light dance show is like happening as I'm going through like this, you know, these feelings. And you know, and maybe this is probably because of my experiences before with having a bunch of surgeries, but at one point it felt like a spiritual like scalpel was like going down my head and like I was being worked on. And there's this like this transformational like from cocoon to butterfly of like I literally felt like I was opening up, and like there's no way to explain it without this happening and going through it, but like that was Jesus. That. And then so now granted, after this happens, you know, like I said, my stuff is, I don't know where the fuck my stuff is. And I think I went way further out there than I did. I take my shoes off. Now there's a mountain, like a legit mountain that's up there. Now granted, there's cactuses and thorns and shit like this right out there. And dude, I just start running, and like as I'm running like up this mountain, dude, I'm literally like ripping through like thorn bushes and shit, like legit, just like fucking one arm, just boom, just like smashing through stuff.
Are we shoeless right now?
Shoeless, crying as I'm like running up this mountain, because like part of all of this is like, again, like you die, and I was. It sounds you need to understand that you're not going to physically die. Like something is not going to happen to your body. But like, as I'm going up this, so this is, I get to this top of this mountain, bro. I'm fucking chilling. The wind's blowing. It's getting close. Like sun's starting to come down a little bit. Colors are cool. I'm chilling. I'm singing fucking "No One" by Alicia Keys off the top of this mountain while I'm throwing rocks. Like I'm like thinking I'm like Uncle Rico. Like, you know, I'm like, I could throw a rock over that mountain. I'm literally looking at this shit, launching it. Like, you know, there was this moment of like God where like it was like, oh, you think this is cool? I'm gonna keep blowing your mind again and again. And as I'm going up, just like vroom, 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 kind of like that generator thing from earlier. It's just like just rapid, just. And I get to the top, flawlessly climb this mountain, get to the top, and
no pun intended.
I'm sitting there chilling, like I said, singing Alicia Keys. Boom, the sun's starting to set, and this is where like I really start getting talked to, like really, really start getting talked to. And I'm up there, and he was like, why do you think you're here? It's like, oh, you know, like, you think I brought you up here to kill you? I was like, why would I do that? It's like, what, you think you're just gonna like fall down this and like smack your head on a rock and just die out here? He's like, why would I do that? And so I'm sitting there chilling.
You need goosebumps,
bro. I'm sitting there chilling, and it was like, there's the other thing too, which was pretty cool, like awful, is like, it's like, oh, you're tired, man? Like, yeah, me too. Me too was said to me. Like, oh, I'm up there. Like, oh, you're tired? Yeah, me too.
Damn.
Kind of like in this sense of like a lot of work's being done, and like, yeah, you know, the shit is work, right? And so I'm chilling up there, and the craziest thing that was said to me, right? The craziest thing, and I wish I could make this up. I'm looking out into the sunset. This is happening, like it says, like, oh, I thought you thought I brought you up here to kill you. And it was like, why would I do that for you? Or why would I bring you up to kill you when I've already done that for you? And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yes.
Fucking Christ, dude.
And yeah, tears, the whole thing.
I fucking bet.
And I'm like, you know, just basically, man, and this is more, you know, I've got to live like such a cool, off the beaten path life, you know, that a part of me was like, I don't deserve it, kind of. And you know, when I was up there too, like, again, part of this is like, well, like, oh, you think this is the end? like, nah, it's only gonna get better, and you know, it's gonna get better because like more to it was like you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like that was told to me, like, dude, guess what, bro? You're stuck in this shit whether you want to be or not. It's not your time. It's not your time, which is more like why I said like I'm not scared to die or anything like that. It's not your time, and there's a lot more, you know, a lot more for you to, you know, to do on this planet.
Damn.
And you know, that was the craziest. You know, that was definitely the when. Why would I bring you up here to kill you when I've already done that for you? Y'all take that for what you want.
That's a bar.
But that was fucking blew my mind. And so, you know, right after that, granted, this is probably like 4 or 5 hours, right? You know, from like 11. It's also in the winter, so the sun sets a little early. We're getting like probably like 4:30, close to 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you know, you come back down to earth, man. And in my experience, when you come back, you come back. And I think me and God have a very sarcastic sense of humor, and how you know I'm interacted with and things, and like what you know, the everything from like getting arrested, all that. It's been very, you know, it plays perfectly into who I am, that these things would be sarcastic and stuff, right? And it was like once I was like, all right, motherfucker, figure it out, you know, because now come back to earth, standing on top of this mountain in Joshua Tree. I could literally picture it all, paint it all out on a map for you, which is crazy. And I did know where I was. You know, I do have a great sense of like geographical direction. Yeah, like for real. And I knew where I was. Like there wasn't like although I didn't know where I'd went, I knew where I was like relatively, and I knew like where I had to go to get back. And it was like, hey motherfucker, well guess what? Now you're back. Guess what? You don't have your shoes, you don't have your phone, you don't have your keys, you don't have this bag, you don't have water, food, all this stuff. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Now you are back in this earthly world, and what are you gonna do? And you know, we have to pause right here. I need to pee so bad, and we're gonna continue this. I've been holding this shit for 45 minutes.
All right. I gotta pee too.
Might have to be 2 parts actually, because how long are we gonna? The other ones are 58 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's an hour. I gotta piss too. Yeah, we're at about total. We're about 2 hours right now.
Did you piss already?
Yeah. Piss. Wash my hands. Why? You gotta close the door. No, it's okay. It's just the air. Watch your step.
Yeah, we cut it too then.
Well, let's finish this.
Yeah.
And then I'll figure out how to cut it later. Okay. Do you know where you were?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
You good? Yep. All right, man. So I come back to Earth.
Yes.
Back down. It's like, all right, motherfucker. Yeah, you asked for this shit. Figure it out now. Figure it out, right? So, like I said, I did know where I was. The only other difference too is like you are literally invincible during this time. So, I did all this shit barefooted, not a scratch on me. Okay, not a scratch on me.
It makes no sense.
Now,
you're mortal again.
Exactly. Now I have to walk back like 2.5, 3 miles through this fucking path, barefooted, in the dark, because now the sun has set, okay? Nice. Or it's like right at dusk. As I'm walking back, I'm like, well, first thing I need to do is I need to get back there, right?
Right.
As I'm walking back, the only human I saw during this time was like this dude was like setting up like it was actually pretty dope. I saw like a light and I started like walking like down the path like towards it. And this guy was like setting up like some fucking dope like nighttime star photography or something with like a telescope. It was pretty cool. So I was like, yeah. He's like, I'll keep going that way. Okay, so I'm going through the path. Finally get back to where my car is parked, and like it was actually parked at, like in like a parking lot like before. It's like it's a whole ass park, right? Yeah. So it's like, you know, there's like actual structures and things. So I get all the way back to my car, and I'm like, well, shit.
Well, shit.
Now I'm looking at my car that has my stuff in it. Don't have my keys. Don't have my phone.
Your bag.
Don't have my bag. Barefooted. Basically a homeless person in the middle of Joshua Tree National Park, essentially.
Very cool.
So I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I gonna do? I was supposed to be at work the next day too, which is more fun too, which is
classic.
You know, because like I said, I was basically planning on driving home at this point. And this is not, I don't even want to say it's dangerous. Like the difference between like why these substances are not addictive. Like at this point, I am stone cold sober. Like this is like life sucks sober at the moment, right?
Right. It has run its course fully, and you are now back in reality with nothing to your name in this moment.
Which is probably part of the whole journey in that sense. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? I need to talk to somebody. So there's like 3 cars there. Like people are leaving. I asked this one guy, I was like, yo man, like, do you got any water or anything like that? So now I got a water bottle and I don't really want to talk to anybody. So I'm like, he's like, yeah, I got to go. They give you a water bottle. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? So I try to sleep under my car. Now granted, I had like a layer of sweatpants and jeans. So like I said, I was kitted out besides the fact that I took my shoes off and just left them in the fucking middle of who knows where.
Under your car?
Yeah, like I couldn't fit them in my car. My car's kind of low, so I had like not the lowest, but it's not fucking up.
No.
So I had like I literally like was putting my legs underneath and like trying to like sleep. My feet are fucking freezing. I'm like, dude, the desert at night is cold as fuck, and now the wind is blowing, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking freezing. Like I'm probably gonna die. I'm like, looking at the stars are dope. I'm looking at the stars. I'm like, wow, this is gorgeous. This is crazy.
What a night to go.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I need to go back down this trail. So I go back down the trail a little bit and I find like a bench that was like, you know, at the very beginning of the trail. And I'm like, maybe I can like lay on this and like sleep on this. And so I'm like laying on that. It's still cold. And then, you know, these 2 people pass me on the path. Like that they're walking and they have like headlamps and shit, and they pass me on the path. And I was like, I probably should have talked to them. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, all right, I'll talk to them when they come back. So they come back, and I was like, yo, guys, hey. I was like, think how crazy this is.
I know, yeah.
If a random dude in the middle of the
sleeping on a bench
in the middle
pitch black, like, yeah, you're fucking homeless. Get the fuck away from me. Yeah, goodbye.
Exactly. And it was like this guy and this girl, like, yeah, like probably like my age. And I was like, yo, guys, like, I fucked up. I was like, I was tripping. I left my shit out there. Like I'm stuck right now. I was like, all right, man. Like, what do you what do you want us to do? And I was like, he's like, where do you think your stuff is? I was like, it's probably like 2 miles like out that way, you know. But like, he's like, the guy's like, all right, we can go like look for you with you or whatever. And I'm like,
damn.
All right, fucking sick. So like he had like a headlamp on literally. And it's cold and I'm still barefoot walking through rock mountains, basically rock desert.
Good God.
So we start going back and I was like trying to like talk a little bit to like, you know, humanize, but like also he's like, oh yeah, we're from Colorado. I was like, yeah, cool. You know, that's good. I was like, he's like, how far out we're talking like a little bit. It's probably his girl's probably staying back as she should.
I get it.
You know, and she had like her phone light and it was just his like headlamp. So like walking through and we finally get to this spot, like it's a couple miles into where like I split off like randomly. And I'm like, oh, this is like where like I split off the path. And he's like, okay. He's like, you know, man, if you want, like you can take the lamp and like look for it. We're going to chill here. Right. And I was like, all right, give me 15 minutes. So I start walking down to where I think I was. Again, pitch black, headlamp. You're looking for a needle in a haystack. You're looking for a needle in a fucking...
In the ocean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't find this shit. It hurts. Everything climbing hurts. I can't find this shit. I have the headlamp. eventually he walks down like after some time had passed, he like walked down like where I'd like branched off. He's like, hey man, he's like, look bro, like we gotta go, like we gotta go, like if you want, like I can call for help when we get back, or like or like you can keep the headlamp if you want. And I was like, I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, you know what man, I was like, thank you, I'm gonna keep the headlamp, and thank you. And he's like, you don't want me to call anybody or anything? I was like, nah bro, I appreciate you, it's all good, I'm gonna figure it out. The other thing too is like we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no service to like where this was, so like you can't even call anyone anyway. And so I was like, fuck it. So now I'm looking for like a little bit longer, like out there.
Would you say you're completely alone?
Oh, 100%. Probably completely alone for like miles in each direction, dude. Like this is one of the coolest, most humbling things about going to national parks too is you realize, like, talking about like how small you are and how like none of this shit matters. Is like, dog, you are out here, brother. There is nothing. So I did have a good memory of like where I went, and I remember that when I went past, right before I started like going up the mountain and stuff, there was this like hook in the path, and there was like some structures there, and not like man-made, just like rocks and shit. And I was like, you know what? So bro, I like did remember where it was, and I found this like little fucking cave to sleep in to like block me from the wind, because like it's cold already, but the wind is what's killing you.
Yeah.
So dude, I deadass like slept in this cave in the middle of Joshua Tree for on and off for probably 8-9 hours until the sun came up.
Oh my god.
And hurt like a bitch, feet were cold. I was just like, it was whatever, but it was fine. And so I get up, and like when I find like dawn, like ass crack of dawn, right? Like it wakes you up. Now you learn those things. And so I'm like, all right. Also pain, feet have like really settled into pain. Like now that shit hurts. And I was like, dude, I need to find my shit. I was like, I need to find my stuff. So I start looking more, and like now I'm climbing these things like barefoot, dude. I literally like took my jeans off. I had sweatpants on. I took my jeans off, and I was like using them to like walk on to like climb. Like I was, and eventually I looked for a bit, and eventually I was like, bro, I got like quarter bottle of water left, no food. There's no way I'm finding this shit. I need to fucking go back. So I start walking back to like, now it's daylight. I start walking back down that path, get to where the cars are. Now all these people are walking into the path, and I'm like walking by them, like all these old people, and I just like look at this dude coming out of the fucking desert, like what the fuck. And I remember I got to the top, got back where my car was. There's a bunch of cars now there. It's like early morning, like people doing cool hikes. And I remember asking like one person, I was like, yo, hey, like, do you mind, like, if it's all good if not, but like, do you think you could like drop me off the visitor center? Because like the visitor center is like probably, I think, like a mile and a half maybe of like concrete of like road from like where that was. She looked at me like I had 7 heads, and I was like, you know what? I get it. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry about things. So I'm like, fuck it, bro. So I walk on this rocky ass pavement all the way back to the visitor center. And then I don't know what time it is. And there's some people there, and I walk inside, and I was like, I go to like the park ranger. I was like, hey, listen, man. I was like, I fucked up. I left all my shit out there. Like, I don't really know what to do. And he's like, don't worry, you're not the first person to do this. I was like, sure, that's great. So I fucking call mom. I have now I'm going off memory, right? I have like 4 phone numbers on the planet memorized. You, Jolie's mom's, and my friend Eric's, which is a funny part of this story. And probably a couple more if I really had to try. But so I start calling mom, because I'm like, now I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to be at work, and like I don't know what time it is. I think I was supposed to be there in like maybe like less than an hour. I'm like, oh fuck.
I feel like this is like around 10.
It's like earlier. It's like 9. It's like 9 a.m.
Yeah,
it's like 9 a.m. And so I eventually mom was like, mom, listen, I fucked up. I was like, I'm all good. I need you to please call out of work for me. So she obviously is distressed, understandably so. And then she's like, yeah, she's like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I had to tow my car. So the park ranger's like, here's a tow number, you can tow your car. So now I don't even know if I have money or not. Can't look at it. The silver lining to all of this is I left my wallet in my car. So if I didn't have my wallet, all this shit's even worse. License, car, all those things, right? So she does that. a tow truck comes. That's quite the hassle in the first place to tow my car out of this like place. Which
really quickly, did you when you told mom when you called her to say, "Hey, can you call me out of work?" Were you vague or were you straight up? Like,
I told her that I left my stuff in the desert and that this is what I need, and I told her that I was calling a tow truck, but there wasn't even any more vague to be, because at this point, that's all I could even. That was all the only thing that was on the platter for the plan at the moment, anyway, right?
Right.
So that's happening. The Dune tow truck shows up. It was a bitch and a half to like even get my car out of there, even though it was all paved. And he said that he had to like pull people out of like the sand and shit before, but it was just like where I parked, of course, was like the best spot to park to like be able to tow this shit out. And I was like, hey man, can I use your phone? So I remember calling mom at this point, and I'm like, hey mom, like I have my wallet. I was like, I think it was like $350 to tow it or whatever the case was. I was like, I need money. I was like, can you Zelle me money? And there's also service is super shitty at this point. Use this guy's phone, and she's like, well, I'll see what I can do, whatever the case was.
Hear me out. We've talked about this before, but like, I know you didn't have access to how much money you had, but like,
I knew I did not have the money in there.
When you say you knew you didn't have the money, did you have like $0? Like
I knew it wasn't about to be like $700 that I needed for all of the things that were about to happen. Yes.
Okay, so like if you had never asked her and us, you wouldn't.
No, I would have. Oh. I mean, I would have figured it out on some real shit, but I would have. In that moment, it would have been different.
Gotcha. 100%.
Okay. And the guy at the key place even offered me to like go home before I paid him.
Shit.
So there is. So now I don't have a phone. I knew I needed, like, I knew I had $0 in my checking anyway. It doesn't even matter. So now I'm calling her sister.
Yeah.
And explaining it not in the best way, and I completely understood, like, but it was just like at this point I'm like thinking about all these things, and basically I was like, this is what Jolie, this is what I need to happen. And she just felt super transactional, which understood, because it was super transactional, and it was like just kind of like survival in a sense of this was like this plan I'd formulated. I'm like, this is what I execute.
Right.
Go for it.
But as well, so while you're calling Joel, mom calls me.
Okay.
And by the way, also during this time, there's like, I'm at Denise's family's house, and there's some, like, just some interesting,
don't give details, but yeah,
interesting turmoil within the house.
Sure.
And now I have mom calling me, freaking the fuck out. So I go to like kind of walk away. And I'm like, Mom, like, what the fuck's going on? And she's like, do you know where Ryan is? What is happening? What's going on? Why is he calling me? I'm like,
She was very calm with me.
Yeah. Well, good for her in that sense. But with me, she was not. She was very distressed and worried and upset, and was like, Case, like, what is going on? And I understand it from Mom's perspective, in the sense that, like, you know, she thinks of you, she thinks of me out here, like, oh, like, you talk with Ryan, you clearly know everything that's going on.
Sure.
And I was like, Mom, I genuinely have not talked to him in, like, weeks. Like, I really don't fucking know. So you call Joel, and then you get money for
towing my car.
Towing your car.
Towing my car. The guy takes me to, like, he had a hookup or whatever, in the sense of, like, they're all, you know, he takes me to a place to make me a key fob. So now he literally drops me off in the middle of like Coachella, California, like legit, which is not like a fucking, you know, it's not the concert you think it is. It's just like this like town in California, right? It's like a desert town, literally. And now I'm just sitting here with nothing, just waiting for this. Also, the guy wasn't even there yet. So now I'm just sitting there. I gave the dude my card. It did work. And now I'm just sitting there waiting for this random guy to show up who apparently is going to make me a key. So I'm sitting there like 10, 15 minutes. He finally gets there. He's doing his thing. I'm talking to him a little bit. And that's when I called you, because then I was like, dude, I want to say it was like $270 or something like that.
Yeah, you asked me for...
Because it didn't go. Well, actually, I gave him my card and it didn't work. He's like, you want me to try to charge like 100 or whatever and see what happens? And like, that's literally what was happening at this time.
Right, yeah. And then I remember you called me, and I can't remember the specific amount of money. It might be like $270, $300. It was like something of that nature, I think.
Yeah. I think I asked you for $150.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember being like, I tried to get information out of you. Like I remember, like I was like, because not to be an asshole, this is how the phone call went.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. Oh, right. Okay. Hello? Hey, Casey, what's going on, man? I'm like, I'm good. I'm at Denise.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I need $150. I'm like, why? What? For what? Like, sure, what? Yeah, but, like, it needs to be Zelle. Can you Zelle me $150 right now?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, dude. Like, yeah, what is going on? You're like, dude, like, Casey, I gotta go, but, like, I'll talk to you about it later. But, like, you can give me $150, right? I'm like, yeah. You're like, okay, cool, thanks, bye. And I was like, hey, my brother can be an asshole sometimes, but
yeah,
I know Ryan, that's not him talking in the sense of like, there's something deeper going on. Like there's something behind going on. He wouldn't just talk to me like that. It wouldn't be like, you and I are very close in the sense of like yeah, like we say like I love you to each other before we hang up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that phone call was like kind of a culture shock to me.
Yeah.
And it felt very like, like transactional is the best way.
Yeah, even when I called Jolie off the first dude's phone, like I couldn't even hear her. Like it was like service too, and then and like there was like we had to like call each other like multiple times. I'm like using this dude's phone. He's getting calls from other people, and like I know I know I do know how it looked. I do. It's just like I'm like using these fucking people. I don't even know who these people are that I'm using their phones as well, and I'm like, this is weird as shit. Then I had to like call my bank to let them authorize it because now they're not even letting me use my card because it's like getting used in these random places. So that was a factor.
So they thought it was like fraud.
That was a factor too. And then I call my other friend, whose other number I had memorized because I used his number for this fucking Barnes & Noble rewards. And I was like, yo, dude. I was like, Eric, I need you to help me out. He wasn't answering. Of course, he wasn't answering the phone either because what the fuck is he even calling him, right? And I texted him. I was like,
oh, I didn't answer the phone the first time either. Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Did I text you?
Yes. You said, hey, this is Casey. Or, hey, this is Ryan. Answer now. And I was like, okay.
So that you know, and then so I had him like, I gave everyone the money back, but I was like, dude, I need you to buy me like the cheapest phone that like you can, so that I can like pick it up, right? And he's like, dude, what's going on? I was like, listen, I fucked up. Like, can you please help me? He's like, yes, I got you. So that happened. Now I have keys, wallet, no phone, my car back, no shoes. I'm in my car. And you know, we've talked about this before and we can say it on this anyway. Like, yeah, the only thing I didn't is like, I didn't tell you guys that I was good at this point.
Yes. And this is where I'm going to jump in.
Sure.
So again, super glad that you got everything figured out on your end because I get it. If I were you, you're like, oh, in my mind, I have my phone, I have my car, I have a phone waiting for me, I have my wallet. I'm just gonna just gonna drive to the little mall, pick up my phone, and everything's back to normal. This is how it was for the rest of the world. So that's the last I heard from you.
Yeah.
You asked me for money, and that was it.
Yeah.
Over the next, I want to say 4 hours?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Even more, possibly 4 or 5 hours. I want to, because I remember us having that conversation in the morning, and you and I didn't talk until like late at night. It felt like 7, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So actually, no, it was more like it was like 8 hours, like genuinely. And I can even pull up the receipts to back it up after this because my phone is actually tied to a light pole right now, which is how we're recording.
Yeah.
But anyway. I'm on the phone with Mom and Jolie constantly.
Yeah.
They're both crying. They're both freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on, and honestly, we don't even know if you're alive.
Sure.
And we're just so mad, and we're also so upset, and we're also so fucking worried because in this moment in time, if you love your family at all, you're freaking the fuck out. Like I genuinely had no idea what was going on. No one knew why you needed money. Then we kind of did. And then we had to do our own digging. Mom was Googling where you were. figuring out the tow truck, figuring out how far away it was from like a Walmart. Like, so many fucking, like, Jolie, dude, the conversations. I was calling your friends because I didn't know. Maybe I was like, oh, well, maybe he hasn't talked to me, but maybe he's talked to Jake. I called Jake, and I'm like in the car. I'm like crying, like trying to figure out where you are.
Yeah.
And he can clearly tell something is wrong. And I basically just said, like, Jake, like, if you hear from him, like, please fucking tell me. Then I call your other buddy, and I'm like, hey, there's so much happening right now. Can you please drive by my brother's apartment to see if he's alive? And he was just like, what? Like he's like, yeah, like I'm at work right now. I was like, dude, if you could just do me a fucking solid after your shift, if you could just drive past his apartment and see if his car is there, at least I know he made it home. And I didn't really give him any details, and I told him really not to tell anyone about it because we didn't know what the fuck was going on. And not only that, not at one point in time did you think, let me drive to fucking Walmart real quick and buy like a $20 burner flip phone just so I can call my mom and let her know that her son's alive, and then maybe I can call my brother and sister too, and they'll know I'm alive, and then that way they'll have a number to call and they can talk to me while I'm on this drive to the mall to get a phone. That's what we were all thinking after all this, because we were just like, but I get in a way, because I also looked into it. I looked it up. Like, after people take shrooms, or after people take, like, some form of psychedelic, they'll sometimes get into, like, a, not like a survivor mindset, but it's kind of like a point A, point B. Point A, point B. Like their mind is very linear. Like, it's very, like, oh, I need this to do that. I need it to do. So, unfortunately, I was like defending you in that way, because I was like, he's probably not really thinking straight, or if anything, he's thinking extremely straight. I was about to say, if anything, he was thinking too straight.
Yeah.
There was no middle. There was no emotional availability. There was no EQ.
Sure.
And that bothered the fuck out of me, and I was also simultaneously like defending your actions, because I was thinking, like, in his head, he's like, I'm all good, I know what I need to do, so I am going to do it. It was, and not coming at you, but it was all I.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, fair. That's what
right.
It was. Yeah.
But you had talked to 3 of your closest family, your literal, like, your immediate family.
Yeah.
And then left them in the dark for about 8 hours. We were not happy.
No, Joel didn't talk to me for a month, so.
Yeah, you were put in timeout.
Yeah.
And Jolie and I talked about it. We wish, like, you could have been, like, locked away or something for like a month. Like, you could only go to work and home. Like, yeah, we did talk about that. Like, you deserve to be on, like, IRL timeout.
Oh,
but
shit.
Then we had a FaceTime. A very emotional.
Yeah, so I got my phone. I picked up a new phone. I had to get my phone number activated.
Yes.
Like, there's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Walked into Walmart barefoot to buy shoes.
That's when we really got pissed off. You told us you went to Walmart so you could buy shoes, but you could have got a phone.
Yeah, and that wasn't even on the brain. I didn't think about doing that one time.
Right.
I did not think about buying a phone one time.
We know. Because
in my head, I was like, I already have a phone, but it's just not in my hands yet.
Right. But how do we know that?
You didn't. And, yeah, I can say sorry 1,000 times.
Here's the thing, really quickly.
Sure, put me on blast.
No.
Go for it.
The complete opposite. I'm not upset anymore, obviously. But you have to understand that if you were in the exact same scenario that I was, and I was you would feel powerless, especially since you and I live fairly close to each other. And by fairly, about an hour half.
Yeah.
I was 8 hours away from you. There was physically nothing I could do. So imagine if you were in the same spot that I was and how powerless you felt, and there is the possibility that your little brother is fucking dead. And you don't know for a third of a day because you haven't talked to him since the sun was out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not here. all that being said,
but of course,
one of the most profound experiences of my life, and at that time, like afterwards, I was like, dude, I got what I needed to get out of all of it. I enjoy, I drink every once in a while, socially and shit like that, but I
typically stay away from.
Yeah, I don't smoke weed literally at all anymore.
Me neither.
And I've never gotten any hard drugs at all. But the whole point of this is to explain that I got what I needed out of it. I think that these experiences are extremely profound. Maybe somewhere down the road I'll be called to do it again. Probably in the confines of my own place and not, in nature's greatest, or maybe just with people instead.
Just do me a favor.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be alone, be in a house.
Sure.
If you're not gonna be in a house, don't be alone.
Fair enough.
I think that those are good parameters that we can agree on.
Yeah, those are good parameters. Hands are shaking for those listening right now.
Yes.
And forever thankful for my family. I would say, that's the other thing too, actually. During the trip, there's a lot of instead of crying and stuff, a lot of just thinking about everyone. I'm like, oh my god, I love this person, I miss this person. Boom, just not only y'all, but just random people. Oh my god, and it's so it's gonna end on this fucking somber blah blah blah. Your brother disappeared in the desert.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's incredibly somber. It's just it definitely shows the duality of experience. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like everything that you experienced versus what we were going through. And I think what really can make things somber is just we just had a lack of information. We at this moment we really didn't know the full specifics. And I think that that's really if I somehow could have been a fly on the wall for every little thing that happened to you, then I wouldn't have felt like this. But it was just the power of not knowing. But also understanding that the experience that you went through was valuable and it was worthwhile, and I'm sure it did teach you a ton.
Yeah, it's the reason why we're here right now.
Exactly.
Talking to each other,
Yeah.
It really is. As close as our relationship was and is getting, even being more further developed, after that, I felt a void between me, you, and Jolie. And I was like I said, go back to episode 1. I was fucking in the gym listening to a podcast about psychedelics and listening to this dude's experience, and it had nothing to do with his brother and sister or whatever, but it was just still I was like, fuck, dude, I miss this kid, man. And I felt like it was, after that, I had a, again, I'm back to, as it's all perfect as it all is, choose love or choose hate. And I was I felt like I was in the middle between me, you, and Jolie, and I was like, you know what, I need to force myself to better this, which was the inspiration for what we're doing right now.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that is the perfect ending for this chaotic episode, I might add. This has been the Lost Brothers Radio podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey.
And I'm your other host, Ryan.
Peace.